Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a while. It's been almost 2 months since my last video. In fact, yeah. It's almost been 2 months since my last video. Uh I haven't done one of these in a while, so sorry if I'm so stilted. Um but I'm back, I'm back to making content, and honestly, I'm kind of glad that I'm doing this because honestly, for my break, I got really bored real fast. So I was like, you know what? I have to make a comeback at some point. It was inevitable. Might as well do it now. So I'm back making YouTube videos. As of now, I'm not gonna be making them on a consistent schedule. As like every week. Just basically whenever time is available for me to make a YouTube video, I will certainly go and do it. So for the time being, don't expect them to be as frequent as before. Uh, Before my break, which grandly, at that time was not even that consistent either. But basically, what I'm trying to say is that I'm not gonna have over the next few months. I'm not gonna have as much time to do videos per weekly. So I'm gonna stress that right now that you know I'm not gonna be able to push out videos every week. Um, so uh, I'm not gonna say what the next review is exactly, but within the next month there will be another review out after this. So I won't spoil it into the end of this review, but I'm just saying that right now. Um, with that being said, I'm glad being back. Uh, And as you guys may have known off of, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, which by the way, go and follow those in the description below. I mostly forget to do that anyway, so might as well plug it in right here. Um, you guys know what the next review is after the Outsiders Redux review, which is what you're watching right now. So, oh god, it's been a while since I've done this. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Russell's Movie Reviews, the show where I review stuff that's mostly pretty good and maybe one of the best movies of all time, or a film that absolutely sucks and should remain in the depths of hell. Whew, it's been a while since I've done one of those. Um, and as you guys can tell by the title and the thumbnail, today we'll be reviewing my first anime review on the channel, which I'm glad it's this, because this is honestly one of the it's considered to be one of the best anime films ever made. And that is, of course, Akira, released on July 16th of 1988. So I've heard about this movie for years now. Uh, it's one of those, it's like one of the most popular slash famous anime films ever made. Going alongside of, Ghost in the Shell, Ninja Scroll, stuff like that. This is considered to be one of the most famous and one of the best anime films of all time. And uh, I never really understood because I never had the movie to watch. But for Christmas, I got it on Blu-ray. Uh, so I thought, you know what? Might as well make this in the next review. I had something else planned, but then I thought, well, technically that one does have a sequel, and the next couple of reviews after the Outsiders review, I wanted to make about standalone movies, and I thought, you know what, might as well cover Akira, so that's what we're doing today. So, yeah, let's get started. So, if you guys aren't well into the history of, uh, of Akira, it's basically it's basically based off of a manga series from, I think it was somewhere in the mid '80s. Is when this comics. Well, technically it is a comic series, but it's a manga or manga. The manga series started in the mid '80s, and I think it ended in 1990. In fact, I'm gonna have to look that up real quick. Pause for 1 second. Okay, so I just found the Google page on it right now, and it said that it started from December 20th of 1982 to June 25th of 1990. Uh, so that's a pretty good long time. Which is surprising because there's only 6 issues of the manga. Uh, I think the entire series runs over 2,000 pages, which is insane to think about. Um, and it was fairly popular, so it came as no surprise that they wanted to do a movie about it. Or the director of the film, Kachiro Ultimo, which, by the way, I'm going to stress this right now. If I mispronounce any of these names, especially the people who make it, I'm just going to say I'm 100% sorry. I'm certainly not good at Japanese at all, so I'm gonna most likely butcher all of these names that I mentioned that are Japanese names. So I want to stress that right now. I'm sorry if I butcher any of them. Don't attack me because of it, because I am not fluent in Japanese. So just saying that right now. But anyway, the director of the film, which is Kachiro Ultima, who was also the creator of the manga series, he did not initially go for like, hey, let's go and make a movie about this. But when companies started coming up to him and say, hey, we want to make a movie off of your series, he saw the potential in it and said, all right, let's do it. I'll direct. And that's basically how the project got rolling. This had a budget of uh some now in terms of box office and budget stats. Some reports are different. In fact, I written down that it was made with a budget of 700 million yen, which is a cumulative around $5.5 million. Some other sources say around $10 million. So in terms of that, I'm not exactly sure. Uh, in Japan, it was actually fairly successful. It made around 750. It was fairly successful. Uh, but what really helped, you know, gain it uh some notoriety was when it came out on home video. Uh, because before that, obviously, it did fairly good in Japan. But when companies tried to bring it over to America and worldwide, it did not work out so well. Because I think in early '89, Streamline Pictures released it in America along with their own English dub, uh, and it did not do that well. In fact, it bombed. I think it, as far as I can tell, it only made barely over $500,000, which is terrible by box office standards. So it didn't do that well. I think in '91 it got released in the UK. Also saw a very limited success. Uh, but it was really when it hit VHS and Laserdisc that's when it really found its popularity. Um, and by the way, I want to mention this right now since we're just talking about the different releases. There are so many different audio, many different versions of the film in terms of audio tracks. In fact, I think there's 3 on this Blu-ray. Uh, because so yeah, this includes the remastered Japanese audio from 2009, which I believe is just the original Japanese audio. yeah, it's either the original Japanese audio, just remastered, or they got either the original cast back or new cast members in and re-record the dialogue. I'm assuming that's what it is. We had the old English. We had the Streamline Pictures audio track from '88/'89, I think, and then we have the remastered English dub from 2001 by Pioneer. So I watched this film with the 2001 audio track. Um, because I heard that that was one of the besides the Japanese audio, that's the best audio track to listen to. So um, I'll probably get around to watching both the original English track and the remastered Japanese track. I only chose the 2001 track because it seemed like most people really liked that one, and plus, I don't have time to watch three. You know, I can't watch this movie three times in a row just to listen to all three separate audio tracks. So I just chose the best one to me that was in English, and just went with that. I will eventually get to the Japanese audio track at some point, maybe in the near future. But for the purposes of this video, I watched the original 2001 with the remastered English audio from 2001. So I'm going to clarify that right now. When I go over the actors, I'm specifically talking about the 2001 cast, um, and not the original '88 cast or the Japanese cast. So I'm going to clarify that. Um, but I to get back to the movie, uh, it it certainly found success when it hit home video because I think it made it certainly did very good when it hit home media. But the at the time I think it had the original English audio from like '88, '89. Um and then obviously in 2001 they released they remastered it and brought in a new English cast. Um and then obviously back in when did this Blu-ray come out? And then obviously back in 2009 they did um a new remaster of the Japanese track. So I don't know if it actually says on here when the Blu-ray came out. It might have been like 2013. Um, I'm gonna have to look this up later, but yeah, I think this might have been um a 2013 release. In fact, yeah, I'm gonna actually look that up right now. Okay, I was right. So it was 2013. Um, so yeah, with basically all of that out of the way, let's get on to the plot. So in 1988, the Japanese government drops an atomic bomb on Tokyo after ESP experiments on children go horribly wrong. In 2019, 31 years after the nuking of the city, Kaneda, the leader of the bike gang, the Capsules, tries to save his friend Tetsuo from a secret government project. He battles anti-government activists, greedy politicians, irresponsible scientist, and a powerful military leader until Tetsuo's supernatural powers suddenly manifest. Final battle is fought in Tokyo Olympiad, exposing the experiment's secrets. So, it sounds pretty complicating, and from what I've read, most people who see this film basically see it like that. It's just a little bit complicating. Like just a little bit hard to follow. So it would be best to watch maybe the English dubs for your first time watching. Um, I watched the English dub and I didn't find it that hard to follow at all. Actually, in fact, I was able to follow the plot fairly easily. I don't know if it's just me, not paying attention to certain parts, but overall, I managed to um pay attention to it fairly carefully. It's not like a Dark City situation where you really have to pay attention to the film to uh to pick up all on the details. In fact, yeah, this film does have it, but it's not unlike Dark City, it isn't, I feel like, mandatory that you need to figure out those tiny little details. It's kind of like just little extra nuggets of information. I was here's some extra, stuff. Uh so yeah, it's not like a Dark City thing where you have to actually kind of pay attention to the plot, or else you kind of get confused. And that could actually happen to some people who are watching this film. But for me personally, I did not feel that. So, uh, yeah. Um, so we're gonna now go over the cast, and like I said earlier, I will be specifically talking about the 2001 cast. Not the original English cast or the original Japanese cast. I am going to be specifically talking about in this review the 2001 cast. So, sorry if I didn't forget to mention, or if I forget to mention anything about certain cast members from other dubs that you like. Um, but I will say that the apparently I haven't, like I said, I haven't seen the original streamlined dub. Uh, but apparently the the guy that they got to voice Kaneda in the original '88 English dub was the same guy who voiced Leonardo in the '87 Ninja Turtles cartoon. So there's a fun fact for you right there. Um, but that's what I've heard. I haven't seen the original English, or I haven't heard the original English audio. So that's really up for grabs. Well, not up for grabs. It's basically just like, I'm pretty sure it's true, but you know, well, I'll probably have to figure that out whenever I get the chance to watch the original. With the have the Whenever I get the chance to watch the film with the original English audio. But anyway, let's go over the cast of the 2001 English dub. So for Kana, we have Johnny Young Bosch, who, if you guys are martial arts fans, you guys may recognize him as Adam from season 2 and onwards of MMPR, also known as Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Uh, and he does actually fairly good as Kaneda. I honestly thought that it was just going to be like fairly obvious that he was just doing a voice, but he actually did it fairly well. We have Joshua Seth as Tetsuo, uh, who again does very good with the role. We have Wendy Lee as Kay. Uh, she does very good with with the role. We have James Lyon or Leon as the Colonel, and again, very well. Uh, we have Simon Prescott as the Doctor, who is working along with the Colonel to study these children who have these supernatural powers. Uh, and he does good as well. Uh, we have Kiori, who is the girlfriend to Tetsuo, played by Michelle Ruth, and again she does good. And finally, for the main cast, we have Keizuke. I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it. Played by Anthony uh, Palencia. Again, I butchered that name. Uh, and he does good as well. So, uh, yeah, really, all the cast does very well with the roles that they're given. I'll be completely honest. I thought that Conda is gonna be the main character because he's the only character that's used throughout most of the advertising. In fact, you know, that's him right there. But in fact, the uh the movie focuses around a number of characters, which you know, I guess in a way is fairly good, so that all the main characters get really good moments to shine. But at the same time, it's kind of like the marketing was like, "Hey, this is your main guy," which in a way he kind of is, but he doesn't take the spotlight away from everyone else, which I guess again is a good thing. But overall, it was I was a bit surprised that it wasn't uh a little bit more focused about him. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much it for the cast. Now we're gonna talk about the music, and uh, the soundtrack is certainly interesting for this film, because it contains a lot of breathing, and it's a very odd soundtrack to say the least. Uh, the composer Soji Yamashiro. Again, so sorry if butchered that name. Uh, he is apparently a scientist who studies in the I forgot what the name of it is, but it's basically like ultrasound kind of like ultrasound sound effects basically. I know that's I don't think that's actually the name, but basically it's about kind of to sum it up. It's basically about what if humans can hear more, like, because I think the highest that a human can hear is like 20 kilohertz. But scientists nowadays, including this guy, uh, think that humans can listen to like higher frequencies. Like I think this Blu-ray right here even yeah, Dolby True HD with I think it literally goes up to, yeah, right, 192 kilohertz, which is like, oh yeah, the it's for only the Japanese audio. Uh, the English audio, both the English audios are standard Dolby True HD 5.1 audio tracks, but the Japanese version is a it's 5.1 Dolby True HD, but it runs at 192 kilohertz at 24 bits. So it's very very it's supposed to be very high apparently. Uh, if you want a more detailed explanation about basically what this guy does, uh, I will link a video down in the description below that reviews Akira, and goes more into depth about what this guy does in terms of like for a living, and some of the controversy that has come with his theories. It's the video is done by Oliver Harbor, which I think I linked a few of his videos back in some of my previous videos, but he goes more into depth about what the what this process is exactly, and again some of the controversies that came around it. So after this review is done, go and check out that video because that is a that is a interesting topic to kind of listen to and kind of figure out. But the soundtrack is, it's not bad by any means. It's just weird. It's like I said, there's a lot of breathing in it. Very it's not an atypical movie soundtrack for an anime film, especially for an anime film. Uh, but I think that's why I like it because it's just so unique. I don't know if there was a full complete soundtrack. I know when the film came out, I think there was an album released that had only 4 tracks released. Um, and I think later on they released it with some more tracks, but I don't know if there's a complete soundtrack out. Um, there is, I think there's rips of the entire soundtrack off of on YouTube from I believe the Blu-ray. Um, but um, I'm not exactly sure. So that may be a little bit hard to try and come up trying to come upon. Uh, in terms of fun facts, I have a couple. So uh, this film uses 160,000 cells of animation. If you don't know what a cell is in terms of movie terms, it's basically a sheet of very thin glass. You basically put like artwork on, and basically gets translated into film. So when you see like from I would say basically ever since the animation started up until I would say either early or mid 2000s, they were most likely using animated cells. Uh, no matter really where it came from, America, Disney was using a lot of them. Japan was obviously using a lot of them. So, uh, and even today, cell animation, like animation cells, are some of the most sought after, like kind of collectibles out there in the world. So people still care about these. But Akira is such a unique film in terms of animation cells because, like I said, it uses 160,000 cells of animation. So every single scene in the film is packed with detail. Like you can literally blink your eye and miss something in the background. You know, so it's one of those movies that you honestly want to keep track of when you're watching it because you could very well miss something. I could very well have missed thousands of frames or cells of animation for watching it for this review, and I could easily watch it again and notice it. So it's very it's one of those films where it would benefit that if you were able to go frame by frame and look at these cells because they are amazing. Um, but it I don't know how much sales for this film go for. I haven't checked any listings for them, but if there were, and I managed to find them, they would probably go for shits amount of money. Knowing the popularity of this film, um, I think there's even a documentary, probably in the Restoring Akira documentary, and plus there's a storyboard collection special feature on the Blu-ray, so you could easily just look for there and just see great works of animation, you know, in these singular cells, and it's amazing. Second fun fact is the movie takes place in. Oh, by the way, don't you ever love films or TV shows that say the date? Like for example, this film being in it was released in '88, yet it takes place in 2019. We've already surpassed it. Like for example, Blade Runner, which a lot of people when this film actually came out, compared it to Blade Runner, and you could definitely see that. But like Blade Runner also took place in 2019, and we surpassed that. So it's kind of cool to have that feeling of like we surpassed the year that this film was supposed to take place, and thinking how incorrect were the filmmakers when they made these films in their interpretation of the future. Blade Runner, it was like it's dark and dystopian. It was always night. Uh, and now it's obviously we obviously have day and night still. I feel like that Akira was more closely accurate in terms of its predictions, but obviously in '88 we never dropped an atomic bomb on Japan on Tokyo. So you know But that kind of does lean into the fun fact that this film takes place in 2018, and it depicts Neo Tokyo, which, as I said, uh, replaced the old Tokyo after the atomic bomb was released on it. But it depicts that Neo Tokyo is creating a new Olympic stadium for the Olympics. Coincidentally, Tokyo was scheduled to host the 2020 Summer Olympics, but obviously because of the pandemic, that had to be pushed back into 2021. But it's still surprising that how kind of much this film got right. You know, Tokyo holding the 2020 Olympics. Even though they got delayed, it still technically happened. So it's crazy to think about, and it kind of I don't know if Akira actually had anything to do with Tokyo being chosen to hold the 2020 Olympics. But if it is, it shows you how much this film has impacted culture nowadays. That it's helped society choose when Olympics are being chosen. For 2020, it's insane to think about. Uh, and shows you the impact of Akira. Which, by the way, speaking of Akira, the name, people say Akira, people say Akira, and most people in the film say Akira. Uh, but from most people I've heard from online, they pronounce it Akira. So if you pronounce it a different way, don't be spamming me in the comments saying actually it's pronounced like this. I know people pronounce it different ways. Even the movie, like literally says it differently than most people in real life. So I don't want to hear that bullshit. You can pronounce it your way, and I can pronounce it my way. Who cares? So I personally say Akira, but if you people say Akira, that's fine. I'm not gonna judge you because of it. So I just had to get that off my chest because I knew there was gonna be someone just being like, Andrew, it's actually spelled like this and pronounced like this. Like, I don't care. You can pronounce it your way. I could give less of a shit. Pronounce it your way. Go ahead. You know? So, I just had to get that off my chest. Um, but that's pretty much about it. So, final thoughts on Akira. I really enjoyed it, and I could see where everyone's coming with like them saying that this is one of the best anime films ever. I 100% agree. It's certainly one of the best anime films I've seen. Uh, which grandly I shouldn't be really talking that much since really the only anime films I've seen are the Pokemon films, and those are really made for a wider demographic. Uh, but watching this kind of opens up the gate for me to check out more anime films in the future, like Ghost in the Shell, Ninja Scroll, the Animatrix. And I know that's not particularly anime, but it does have anime sequences in there. Um, but like Street Fighter Two, the animated movie, not the '94 one. Although grandly, I will probably cover that one in the future. Probably has a double bill with Street Fighter Two, the anime movie, since they both came out the same year. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. My point is, watching this film kind of made me go, like, I kind of want to watch other anime films now and like discuss it on the channel because this one just opened the gate for me. So I really do thank it. There are some problems that I have in terms of pacing. It does slow down in the middle of the film. Uh, and some scenes I feel like could have been extended, especially the most notable one that comes into my mind is the final battle, where because actually I actually didn't say this or discuss this yet. At the time, so as I said about the manga, it went from 1982 to 1990. By the time that this film obviously came out in '88, so you kind of realize something. The film came out 2 years before the anime series, not anime series, the manga series ended. So they had to create an ending that uh either create a brand new ending or something that will lead to what would happen in the comics or in the manga. For example, the most notable example for me is the final battle in the film. Um, the whole 6 issue of the series of the manga is the entire final battle that we see in the film. Uh, yeah, it's basically the final battle between the military and Kaneda versus Tetsuo. Um, but in the film, it's like condensed down to like 10 minutes. So it really shows the constraints that they had making this film because they were like, well, we can't, how are we supposed to end this when really we we really can't we don't know what the ending is of the comic of the manga, so let's just figure it out. But yeah, that's certainly the biggest problem that I have is that certain scenes uh aren't that well structured in my opinion, like especially that final battle. It seems kind of rushed, whereas grandly, uh the sixth issue is like god knows how many pages, and it has the entire final battle in it, whereas this film, it has to condense everything down into a 2-hour film basically, which actually, let me check. uh Let me see. Where's it at? Yeah, 124 minutes. So that's just barely over 2 hours. So they basically had to condense down. I think at that point there was 5 issues. So yeah, basically, what the point is, they have to condense down everything that was in the manga into a 2-hour film. You're gonna lose a lot of plot details, uh, in the film. So I know why they did it, but it still kind of bugs me as to they still did it. But that's a very minor nitpick. But it does kind of affect certain scenes for me. So I originally had this ranked like as an A. But when I was as the film went on, there were certain scenes that I felt like that could have been extended a little bit, and it kind of brought my ranking down. So I'm gonna give this film an A minus. It's a great film, and I highly recommend it. Although, Granley, if you are a young kid watching this, you may not be able to watch it because it's rated R. So, uh, do beware. Do not let anyone, I would say, under the age of, I would say, 15 watch this. Because there are some bloody scenes in this film that might affect them. And I think that's kind of also one of the reasons why this film was so popular. Because it was so violent for an animated film, which kind of in Japan it was a bit surprising, but it was less surprising to like Japan compared to like the US and the UK, where it's like, holy crap, like this is violent, and they were like shocked about it. Whereas now it's like, okay, yeah, it's expected. But yeah, I'm stressing that right now, and I think there is brief nudity. But as far as I know, I think it's only like one scene. So the nudity part is not really that bad. It's more the blood and like the violence in the film. Um, so I'm warning that right now. But yeah, I'm gonna give this film an A minus. So yeah, that really does it for my review of Akira. Uh, I hope you guys enjoyed that review. And go and check out my channel. Either at the little thumbnail, the picture right here, or click down on my username down there. And make sure to also hit that subscribe button and hit that bell icon to get notified when future videos are coming out. And you can click over here, possibly. I don't know. I forgot how this thing works. To go and check out the latest 2 videos. Also, again, to make sure to go and follow me on my social media pages. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. To get notified also when these videos are coming out. Uh, Also follow me on Twitch because I occasionally do some live streaming, which I do hopefully plan on getting back into over the next couple of months. So yeah, the next review I will be doing is on a film that came out a couple years ago, and I'm surprised that no one has really been like commenting in my videos saying, "Oh, you should review this." But the next review will be Ready Player One. Uh, so like I said, that will come out within most likely a month, if not maybe 2 months. Because again, I'm not going to be uploading videos on a consistent schedule for right now. So really, just whenever I have time available, that's when I'll do it. So, uh, most likely within the next month, that you guys will see that video. Um, so yeah, within the next month, you guys will see the Ready Player One video. Uh, until then, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for whenever the next video comes out, and hope you guys have a great day. Live long and prosper. Out.